Hello and welcome to Bunto Silent Dogfight, episode number 6, Shamos999. Tonight's guest, of course, is Shamos999, is back with us. Thank you, Shamos, for coming back on my show. How are you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, tonight's procedure, of course, will be like we'll do the interview for 45 an hour, and then we'll open up the floor to any participants. Let's go ahead and jump right into our first subject, number 1. Since you arrived on the scene of the great debate, Shamos, you've changed your approach. There's no more softball with atheism in general. Tell me what your
Yeah,
thoughts.
I think that a lot of people, including myself, have kind of noticed like a difference from when I first came onto G Plus. Like, I mean, when I first came on here, I just wanted to just um try to be as palatable as possible to the atheists and try to basically not claim knowledge of God and just claim faith and no evidence and just try to just give it to them in such a way that it didn't really uh, kind of like get that knee jerk reaction out of them and I could but I mean I just noticed that either way as it is they're just as critical whether you are all nice about it. I mean, you can be Nate Cunningham, and they're still not going to buy your stuff. They're still not going to buy your arguments, and they're still really, really gonna kind of spout off the same arguments against your thing. So I just figured that why am I catering to atheists when I just need to really just do the best I can to argue from a biblically accurate perspective and
Okay,
athe-
well, the first thing
yeah.
that jumps to mind was, okay, you gave up on trying to flip atheists, or you weren't even trying to flip atheists when you showed up? I mean,
No,
did you want to do some conversions?
no, I mean, if somebody converts to Christ because of me, praise the Lord. But I mean, I'm all for that even now. But my approach is just different. I'm not. I'm set on just keeping it as biblically accurate as possible, and just atheists be damned. And if people's
Okay, well,
feelings get hurt, then people's feelings get hurt. But at least I'm preaching, a biblically accurate message, and I don't really care if they
okay,
don't
just
like
for the
it.
benefit of our listeners, please describe how you would characterize a typical G plus atheist.
Um, uh, I don't want to stereotype too hard, but I don't know. The typical G plus atheist is probably would someone
Fairly
that come,
knowledgeable?
huh?
Are they fairly knowledgeable?
Sure.
Or do
Usually,
you detect a deficit, a lack of knowledge?
no. I think most atheists that come on here, there's a few that will come on here and just argue out of pure emotion, and they don't really have very good logical or deductive arguments, and they're not like completely like smart when it comes to science and everything. But I think for the most part, most of the atheists that are going to come on here and actually put themselves out there know what the hell
Right.
they're talking about in science. They're not just speaking from pure emotion. They're drawing on logical arguments, and they're working to a certain end that's just not completely, subjective. So yeah, for the most part,
Are
definitely.
the atheists that you encounter in G plus, are they polite?
Uh, that's such a broad, there's this range of people. I would say on average, most people are polite, and certain conversations will draw the emotions out, but that's to be expected. But I think on average, everyone at least aims to be polite and
Okay, I've heard in our community that people single you out for a arena battle. Have you heard anything like that?
single me out for an arena
Right.
battle.
They look to engage you in
I
heated
never
discussion.
heard of that specifically, but I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, you know, I I think um, I think people that have been here for a little while, or at least been listening, and are kind of new and just jumping in here, are probably familiar with some of my stuff, and know I'm kind of like a strong voice for Christian theism, and maybe they either have heard some of my stuff that they don't agree with, and they want to take a shot at, or they just don't so much like my style or think I'm cocky and
Okay.
arrogant. I've heard a lot of people that think that I'm super cocky and arrogant.
All
So,
right.
and I could probably see that coming off sometimes for sure. So,
Do you
when you're
think?
talking all this philosophy bull crap, you're always going to come off arrogant and cocky, like, oh, that's a fallacy. This is a fallacy. That it's
Right.
it's the nature of the game, I guess. But,
Okay. Do you think that some people want to take you down in the community?
well, I mean, I'm sure I'm sure some people would love to, catch my hand in the cookie jar, or embarrass me, or catch me with my pants down, or like just beat me in an argument, or like have that like, oh my god, like trapped moment with me in a
Right.
logical argument. But I mean, yeah, I mean, sure,
But you
some
go ahead
people.
and take pains to avoid that at all costs.
Who, me?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think that if you have a well thought out position that's consistent biblically, in which what I think is the truth, what is the truth, then I don't really see a problem. I don't see, like, I don't have to really do a whole lot of defense. Like, I'm not like constantly formulating like defense plans or
Like,
anything.
for
Like,
example,
I come on here and wing it a lot of time. Actually, I just come on here and just like I just say what I feel. Like, I'm not really like, I don't come on here with a script. I'm just like,
well, can I say something like for example, Veckel. Doesn't Veckel take pains to keep his nose clean? Make sure he doesn't have any, you know, gaping
yeah,
holes.
yeah, I think everyone does it, even me to a degree. I mean, like, that's even atheists. Everyone here is not trying to look like a moron. They're trying to not have like completely ridiculous arguments. So I think everybody to a certain degree is kind of bound by this.
I
You
was
know,
thinking more like hypocrisy. That people aren't, like you say, hand in a cookie jar.
what do you mean?
Something very hypocritical. That they would speak against. For example,
Perhaps.
you know, I guess we could say like an atheist, all of a sudden we catch him like praying or, saying he's a Christian, something like that, some sort of blatant hypocrisy.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, have you run
Yeah.
into any of that? Somebody who you said, boy, this guy's a hypocrite. Or, it makes you question where this guy's position is. Have you
I've,
encountered that
I,
yet?
well, I've seen people that are inconsistent, but I've never
Okay.
seen anyone that was like an outright, full on like hypocritical like within their actions. But I have seen people that are really inconsistent within their position. But I think that's only natural when we're really digging into deep philosophical stuff. But like outright hypocrites, like I don't know. I'm gonna have to give that some thought.
Okay. Could you give me an example, an anecdote of when you first arrived in the scene, before and after? Like, what was the game changer that made you change your approach? When you first
Well,
came on, you were very nice, polite to, Google Plus atheists until they exposed their fangs to you, and then you changed.
I think kind of what spurred it off was a discussion that me and Ozzy and Floyd had, and
Oh, I see.
it was about basically like presuppositionalism, like with regards to like how do you evaluate transcendental claims. And I don't want to get into a lot of like the heavy words, but like basically I had this I was we had a it started from one. Okay, let me start from the beginning. Xbox and Sokka have a show called Deeper Than Dogma. We just plug their
Yes.
stuff. But one of their episodes, we had like probably like 8 person panel. It was like an hour and a half show, and it was about naturalism. Is naturalism a presupposition? And it got kind of heated, and it was kind of me and this Jimmy Stevens guy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
No.
He's a Christian theist that's pretty big into philosophy and logic. And it was kind
All
of me
right.
and him versus Ozzy and Floyd. And after that discussion, for the next 3 days or 2 or 3 days at work, I was just consumed by some of these thoughts that I had. I was kind of thought provoked, and I come to this epiphany, and it struck me so suddenly, and like I still feel very strongly about it today. But I had this like kind of like almost revelation, not like a spiritual revelation, but I really it clicked, and I figured it out, and I realized that a lot of times, basically, the fact that a lot of atheists, when they ask for certain proofs of God,
Yes.
they know ahead of time that Christians can't provide them with these proofs. So
Okay.
they're kind of just begging the question. They're kind of just saying like, "Oh, provide to me this proof," and then they're secretly saying, "Aha, I know we can't provide it." So even asking the question, it already assumes the answer. 'Cause you know what I mean? So like, and then I had this really weird thought that just about every atheist is pretty much guilty of this in some form or another.
All
And
right.
ever since then, and I got a really bad response from it. A lot of atheists didn't like it. I think I'm not sure they didn't like it because like they actually got what I was saying. I'm not sure many of them actually get it even now, but I think they were mad because it sounded kind of silly to them and they couldn't understand it. But I come to a point after that where I just said, you know, they're not gonna get it. They're just not, and they're not gonna try to get it, and they're not. I'm sitting here for 3 days at work mulling this shit over hard. These people go, for the most part, go home and turn the lights off, and that's it. They're not really worried about it. It doesn't consume them. They're not mulling over what Shamos said today. They're not like taking to heart what I've said, and that just struck me like no one really is taking. Why am I putting all my time into this and
Okay.
really going through this, and no one is really giving the same reciprocity? Like it's just like it's kind of like a farce, and that's what pulled me out for a
You
little
felt there was a dearth of being open-minded to your position.
while.
They
Right.
just weren't going to be open-minded to the possibility of a supernatural God.
Yeah, I mean it's that, but they're not even they don't go home and consider your arguments. They hear your argument for the first time and they just rebut it right off right from their gut feeling,
They
and they
summarily
never.
dismiss it without
Yeah,
listening.
yeah, exactly. And they don't think about it really much after that. They don't go home the next day and mull it over, and that I know, and they don't really. It's just, yeah. And I thought that if people really gave it enough care to actually sit down and think of this stuff, then at least a few of them are going to come to some type of realization about it. But really, what it is they don't like my argument. I'm a Christian theist, and at the end of the day, they're not really going to go home and try to really think about what I was saying because who
Okay.
really cares what Shamos has to say? No one's losing sleep over my arguments, and I
Well, let me
realize
ask
that.
you this, Seamus. Knowing that, what would you have done different to the Ozzy Floyd team up? What would you have done different?
Oh, nothing. I'm glad that stuff is live. I'm glad it's still recorded. I would have changed nothing at all. It was like it couldn't have been more perfect. It just literally it is what it is. It's
Okay, you
just
feel you guys acquitted yourselves very well against, some, pretty big heavy hitters on the
no,
atheist
it's not even that. I just feel like um, I, the way that the discussion went out, and not that like I destroyed them. I just feel like my position is very well thought through, and it's very sound. And if you really give it some thought and really question the meaning of what I'm meaning, it's very profound and it's undeniable.
All right. Could I characterize Ozzy and Floyd as on the philosopher end of the atheist on G plus?
Yeah,
They're the philosophy masters. Let's say that. That's their expertise is in philosophy.
yeah, they're leaning towards that end of the spectrum compared to the average
Now,
atheist.
many atheists, including myself, feel like we own the claim to science itself. What do you think of that? That we use, I don't know which end of philosophy to blow into, but I go to, when I reach out for anything, it's for science. What do you think of that?
I mean, it depends in what context. Like, I mean, I don't think
Okay, well, my, I guess you could say my begging the question I always say is, science has proved that there is no God. I bring up
right.
the claim that, science has never been able to provide evidence for this supernatural being that interacts in our reality. I
True,
mean, am
but
I abusing that?
that's true. Science has never proved that there is a being that interacts with our reality, but just because they haven't proved it doesn't mean it isn't true. But
Okay, so how should I use science properly?
I would
Am
say
I?
the thing about science is when like where atheists kind of claim this their sole right to science, where they it seems like a lot of atheists will kind of try to use science against Christians and some like
Yeah.
I understand when they try to use science against like young Earth creationists, but like I can see why, they're trying to use scientific fact and or science, all these things that are based in science and try to go after it like that. But what I'm saying is in a more general discussion with just a Christian, not even talking about, you know, young Earth creationism or anything like this, there's always this appeal to science and this appeal to rationality and reason. Like atheists have this monopoly on science and reason and logic and I mean, like I said earlier, the atheism is just a non-belief in a god or gods. It's not. It has no claim to science. It has no claim to rationality or logic. It doesn't own a monopoly on any of these things. I think a lot of these atheists on G plus actually fall into the mistake of like, oh, science this and you Christians don't know anything about science and blah blah, and they just fall into this really tragic like loop of just thinking that they're just
Okay.
great because of science.
Would you say somebody like Ozymandias chooses not to go towards science and stick with
I mean, I'm pretty sure he knows his stuff in science, but yeah, he leans a lot.
Have
Like
you heard
people,
him?
for example, people like Fiona, she argues from the
Okay, Fiona.
science view. In Ozzy, he argues more from the logic and the philosophy point of view. Everyone has their own little flavor, but yeah, you're right. Ozzy's not necessarily the scientific guy per se. He's more the philosophy guy.
Okay, Fiona isn't a materialist, is she?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Okay, but somebody like I am, or like Ask an Atheist Sid,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a material. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is.
if you had to choose between, a debate opponent, what would it be, the materialist or would it be the philosopher?
I think the materialist would be the easier opponent.
Oh, you do. Why is that?
I think strict materialism is reduces to absurdity pretty easily. Like, and I mean like hardcore strict materialists. Like that's pretty almost self-defeating. It isn't self-defeating, but it's like, in my opinion, it's more easier to poke holes in the.
Okay,
But,
so just for the
yeah,
audience sake, let's describe strict materialism. Strict materialism is proof of what is real in our reality, wouldn't you say?
right, and,
Scientific
and
evidence?
right, and kind of saying that since basically that's all that's all that I'm willing to consider, right? Everything else is
Okay.
just hoopla and conjecture and just this isn't
Okay, why
reality.
do you, okay, please, Shameless, tell me why you consider that a poor position.
Well, because for example, even if you don't talk about theism, when you materialist, there's a lot of things that materialists would say, um, like concept or abstractions, right? Materialists would say that these are just all just chemicals in the brain going up, and that's true.
All
There's all
right.
these chemicals in the brain, but they're like mathematical and logical absolutes, right? And
Okay.
and that they have some type of like grounding, like some type of origin, right?
That
And
we can explain them scientifically.
well, I mean, it's hard to really explain logic scientifically without begging the question. It's
Well, I
kind
mean,
of.
the components of the material world we can explain scientifically, but keep
Oh,
going.
sure, sure. No, no, you're right. Yeah, the components of the material world we can't explain scientifically.
Most of them, the stuff, we learn more knowledge each and every day through the scientific method.
Right.
Oh, okay, well, why is that a poor position? Tell me, I mean, what trips up hardcore materialism in your book?
Well, to me, I think basically materialism is very, very, very intimately tied with naturalism,
Yes.
and sometimes like when I'm speaking of I'm gonna kind of throw out like this naughtier word, but I'm kind of talking about this kind of what is known as like metaphysical naturalism, which is basically what I call hardcore materialism. It just says that, only the physical, observable universe that has mass and occupies space time.
A
That
location in
this
our reality.
yeah, this is what exists. And
Right.
it what it does is it actually is all right. Here, I'll explain it very well with this. What it does is by saying that this is all that exists, it basically excludes all other possible categories. Now, let's pretend, for example, that they may be right. They may be right that this is truly all that exists.
The
There
Carl
is no,
Sagan.
yeah,
The
there
universe is
truly
all
is no spiritual or different thing than this material. But if they were wrong, that view is literally fallacious because they're literally by definition of their view excluding possibilities. And I think that even within science, you really don't want to exclude possibilities. You just don't want to assent to them without proof. So you don't want to just rule them out, but you're definitely not going to rule them in without proof. But to completely rule them out is a bad deal. So that's why I would say
okay.
materialism.
You believe in the supernatural.
Hmm.
So you're saying to me, eventually we will verify the supernatural?
Oh, for certain. I mean, that's what the Bible says. I mean, I don't want to get too crazy Christian on you, but I mean, it says that in the end times that uh, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus
All
Christ
right.
is Lord. So basically, what it says, I mean, is that one day it is going to be proven, and no one can deny it. But I mean, we're basically talking about the end times here. But I
Right.
mean, as far as science confirming religion, I don't see that happening. I
Okay,
don't.
well, can't you see how that's troublesome to the materialist? Why
Sure,
can't
and to the verificationist too, yeah, somebody that really wants to verify like proof of like absolute proof in the scientific verifiable way. Yeah, I can see why that's a problem because.
All right. Um, could you give me at least a description of now how you would approach the atheist? Just
Uh,
you go into a naughty hangout and you encounter some atheist saying that there's no proof of God. What would you change in your approach? It would be philosophical purely, or would you actually engage the scientific?
I'm lately. I guess most people would say lately I'm kind of like drawn like heavily on philosophy, and I don't really do a whole lot with science. Maybe if I'm trying to like do like a Kalam argument or some weird like that, but um, for the most part, I just try to stick with philosophy. But I also try. I I bounce around a lot. It'd probably be better for someone else to kind of describe my approach because I'm not really sure.
Okay, you enjoy philosophy.
It's not so much that I enjoy it. It's just I'll kind of tell you that it's a double-edged sword. When I first came here, when I was very very new at Chief West, everybody was always like, "Oh, this guy Ozzy, he's so great, he's so great."
Right.
And anyways, I didn't know who it was, but I did watch some of his stuff, and I come to see him in some hangouts, and I realized that he is pretty cool guy. He's really eloquent. He's not rude. He's smart. He
Right.
pretty heavily grounded in philosophy, and it seemed like all the atheists were like really appreciative of philosophy. It was like something that they held on a pedestal, like,
They
oh,
prize it.
philosophy. Right, like if you could prove your arguments philosophically, or with logic and deductive reasoning, that's where you should be. So I was like, okay, that's kind of where I shifted my goal towards, and yeah, they love logical and they love logical and philosophical atheists, but they're not big fans of logical and philosophical Christians. It's kind of.
All right. Okay, what's your best, I wouldn't say counter, well, who's your best colleague as far as your approach?
What do you mean, like who gives me the hardest time, or who's
Well,
like my
I
best
was going to say
buddy, or
counterpart, but then I thought, really, just who's your partner? I mean, is there anybody who thinks like you do?
oh, on the
A
Christian side?
philosophical theist.
Um,
I feel,
I
is
think
that Opie
somebody.
Taylor? Isn't he a big philosophical theist?
Opie Taylor is a materialist atheist,
Man,
but
I was just teasing.
no,
But
I
no,
think
give me a
some of the
colleague of
Yeah, no. I mean, some of the people I don't wouldn't say colleague, but some Christian that I see that's really big into philosophy is probably like Jimmy Stevens.
Okay, tell me about him, please.
Jimmy Stevens, from what I know, I think he might even be studying philosophy or something around that. He's in college age, college, probably in his low 20s or something like that. Smart kid, really eloquent, and big, really Nadia-esque almost in his big buzzwords philosophically. But if you can get around that, and if you know what he's talking about, because he's it's when you get deep into philosophy, it just makes things easier to use these definitions rather than say what they mean every single time. It just makes the conversation go faster.
All
So
right.
once you
So
figure
like,
out what he's saying, he's really smart and he's really on his game philosophically, and he's got a good understanding of and he knows how to break down when people throw him a bad argument, he knows kind of how to go through it pretty easily.
well, that's just, I mean, whose hangouts does he go to? Does he go to
I
not
see him a
Nadia?
lot in I see him a lot in Nadia's, but he
Oh,
hasn't
really? I
been
haven't seen the
he
guy.
hasn't been there a lot lately. He used to maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago, he used to be there a lot, but he hasn't been around a lot lately, to be honest with you. But I often see him in Nadia and Xbox's hangouts.
Next
I
box.
haven't
Oh,
yeah, I haven't
well,
really seen him.
tell me this, Seamus. I mean, what has improved since your arrival? Have you thought
Um,
about that?
I think what has improved is well, I think for the most part, a lot of the bad arguments are kind of going away. I think even when the atheists recently kind of lambasted that forbidden fruit guy, it's kind of
Right.
there's some type of internal self-policing, and it's not a complete shit show, and people aren't just given over to just say whatever they want with no
Okay, well,
repercussions.
okay, I know it's been beaten to death. Let's just spend like 30 seconds talking about what happened to Forbidden Fruit. Was that like
I don't even know. I
horrible
never
riff
watched
going
his.
wrong, or he actually didn't know what he was doing, or what?
I never watched the video, but I heard, so I can only talk about from what I heard. He said oh, Christianity's a mental illness, but I never watched the video. I never seen what the guy said, but
Okay, well, why
um,
didn't you want to watch it? You just thought it was just too weak to even watch it?
he, I'd much rather watch 45 minutes of Floyd going through slides and droning on a prearranged dialogue than listen to Forbidden Fruit emotionally cry out about how he
Okay,
doesn't like
just too much
Christian
emotion.
God.
Just
He's
too
just
much
not.
emotion.
He's just not. He's emotional plea guy. I don't
Okay,
like God because guy. I just
okay.
okay.
How could he tighten up his game? Getting rid of the emotion and a little bit more
Yeah. I think
peppermint, or
not
what?
saying you don't have to be balls deep in philosophy or logic or anything, but just the more you can separate yourself emotionally from what you're talking about, the better. Because when you're playing from emotion, you're ad hocing arguments and just literally just trying to what is it, play on people's pity and political correctness and shit. It works. Some people are very good at it, but I just
Well, how about this, Seamus? If I told you that Mike could lose one half of his delivery and nothing would change, wouldn't that be indicative that, less is more?
right, yeah, I could see that.
Okay, I mean, if there's an atheist you wanted to watch every week, who would it be?
Oh, it definitely
Ozzy?
wouldn't. No. Ozzy's like a teacher. He stops and spends 10 minutes defining this, 10 minutes defining that, and he's great if you wanna. I would rather just watch a YouTube video or something. But if I wanted to learn, so he's more of a teacher-esque kind of person. He stops too much and defines things, and goes too much into examples that I thought need to be given, and he's very thorough. But now I wouldn't watch Ozzy. I wouldn't watch Floyd either, even though they're both kind of smart guys. Floyd just he's real big into
They're
textual
boring.
criticism, and he's got a really skewed, biased view
Okay.
historically. So I wouldn't watch any of his crap because it's basically just complete bias. But who I would watch, I mean, do you mean to actually make videos, or who do I actually enjoy watching in the Hangouts?
Well, who do you enjoy watching?
I mean, uh, I'll tell you some of the atheists that I used to really enjoy Sokka, but here lately he's been kind of I think he's kind of getting a little more edgy too, like how I kind of he's used to be kind of softer and now he's kind of hardened up, and I think that somebody that I really like now is probably Art. Art,
Art.
he's always been the same. Sokka was really nice and really soft, and now he's kind of hardened up and being kind of like he's almost being rude to certain people in
No,
Christianity.
really.
And that, yeah, his position's kind of hardened up. Like I've heard him say some stuff on JD Kane's Talking Shit Tuesday, and a few nights where he was just really just kind of like off kilter, and he, me and him aren't seeing eye to eye on a lot of these arguments lately. But we used to be able to kind of get a dialogue going, even if we didn't agree. But
Okay.
it's just weird the kind of arc that I've seen him take, which I can't really accuse him of because I've done a similar thing myself. I've hardened my position some too. But I think Art has actually remained very consistent throughout. Art has never been outright emotional or outright, rude, or he's never been softer or harder in his position. He's always just
Okay.
been pretty much even keel, and I think I can appreciate someone like that, even though me and Art have like these crazy arguments every day, but he's just very even keel with the stuff. So I respect it, I guess.
Well, have you detected any burnout from the atheists or from the theists?
From the atheists. No, I haven't really detected much burnout from the atheists. Some of the people that were, I'm trying to think of some of the heavy hitter atheists that maybe I haven't seen around as much. Like, I used to see, who was it? What was his name? Redline?
Right.
You don't really see him around as much anymore. He was kind of, he's a loudmouth, but he's not so bad. But he was, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, so. But another one that was kind of loud was what was his name? He was a loud British guy, Chaz World Almighty.
Yes. Okay.
He hasn't been around, which has been a good thing because he was so loud and just super, just man, he's not really. I've heard him actually be calm a few times, but it's hard for him to stay on that level. But so there might be some burnout among some of the most pronounced personalities. But I think the like even keel, like really good argument people, like they're still hanging around. But some of the more erratic people have kind of thinned out on the atheist
Well, I
side.
mean, just to ask you, since you arrived, has everything stayed 50-50, or has there been any sort of deficit or spike?
It seems here lately that there's been a lot more, a lot less Christians. I
A lot less Christians.
used to see Veckel and Arcane and Fritz, and I don't see them guys anymore. And we used to be kind of like holding it down within the Hangouts. And another person that was there for a little while was Rodney Mulroney. He used to be
Okay.
around a lot more than he was, and they were we would really spend some time in those rooms, and it would give it a more balanced approach. So there's definitely a lot of the big names, Arcane Logos and Veckel. I mean, man, those guys used to be in every single hangout, and we've really been hurting since they've been gone. Not hurting in the sense that, I mean, they're a really good voice for Christianity on
Do
these
you
two
think
platforms.
do you think like the Christians are cleaning house? Like, remember the thing with Shanny for Christ? Was that a house cleaning, or
I
was
don't
that
even
just
know who Shani for. I've heard of her. I heard of the cleaning house thing, but I don't really know much about it. But I mean, if we're cleaning house and we lost Veckel and Arcane, we're doing something wrong
No,
because
actually, I saw those two guys today. I talked with them at length. Um, so yeah, they're still on the map. Uh, are there any new players, any new arrivals that impressed you since you've come?
yeah, there's a few people picking up the torch. Like I said, I left there for a little while and kind of got burnt out myself.
Yes.
But it only took about like a few days of watching I could take about 3 or 4 or 5 days of watching just atheists sit around with like 8 of them in a room or 9 of them in a room with just Aramean and Balthazar and just bash Christianity super hard and get away with it. And then I had to don my armor and get back in because I can't let that happen, man. It bugs me to have
Well,
ignorance being allowed on that level. You can't allow ignorance like that.
well,
And
let me ask you about Ermine. Would you characterize those two guys, Ermine and Balthazar, as arena battlers, or are they just, like to hang out?
I think Ermine is all about the conversation. She loves to learn, and she loves conversation, and she loves nuance, and she's not really there to argue. She just really loves conversation. I think Balthazar, he likes the
Yes.
debate, he likes the discussion, but he's like super, super, super moderate kind of. Not really. He has some
Liberal?
positions that are actually a little bit like to the right, but he seems to, from some of the conversations I've been with him, and I actually really like Balthazar, but he seems like a lot more moderate and forgiving than like I would like in some of these hangouts with atheists. Like you really need a theist to get in there and put some pressure on some of these
Okay,
guys.
he's not a typical fundamentalist, literal biblical defender at all. I've noticed.
Yeah, and he's not one that put his foot down super hard. Like he'll make his point, but like, and he'll let the atheists kind of like you know I guess get away with a little bit too much, in my opinion. Like I mean,
Okay.
I'm a jerk when it comes to this stuff. Sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying like I think his approach is well even keel. I'm more like off the top, but
All right. Well, is there any new arrivals that have impressed you?
yeah. I think Balthazar has been a new arrival. He's done really well. I like him. I think the peripheral prophet guy that we've seen around, he's a new
Okay,
face.
like he's a new player, getting a lot of buzz. Could you please, tell the listeners about him?
I don't really know a whole lot about him. I've watched some of his stuff just recently. So I've seen the debate with Floyd, and I might have seen about like three hangouts after that. So I had a couple conversations with him. He seems to be pretty familiar with my stuff. I guess he watched a lot before he came on, so he's a little more familiar with me maybe than I am with him. But so I'm not like super clear of his position, but he's definitely, from what I've seen, a biblical literalist,
Okay.
a biblical inerrantist, just like me. He's really deep seated in the gospel and the Bible, just like me, and he seems to be. He seems to have Calvinistic, I mean not Calvinistic, but Arminianistic leanings, even though
All
I'm
right.
not sure
Well,
he's full down that road. But
let,
he's got some
let me just
similarities.
ask
I
you
like him.
from the basic fight fan outlook. I mean, can he take a punch or does he, rage quit?
No, he's he doesn't lose his cool. He stays nice and level headed, which is what you want because people start losing their cool and stuff. It just makes people look bad, and so he does a good job of that. And I think he does a good job. And I haven't never seen him like get mad or run from a.
Okay, does he look to mix it up with atheists? I mean, does he look for arena battle?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's letting him getting away with too much stuff while he's in the room. Like, I don't think he's just, gonna he's at least gonna get his viewpoint in. He's not just gonna let things slip by. So yeah, I think he's a little more
Okay,
willing to.
well, take his approach next to somebody like Nate Cunningham. I mean, is he going to learn from Nate Cunningham or is Nate Cunningham going to learn from him?
I think I think everybody could learn something from Nate Cunningham. Uh, I think Nate Cunningham's on to something. I think he might not be my style, but I just he's got the right. I, if you had to ask which G plus person is actually preaching the closest thing to something Christ would be preaching, it would really be like Nate Cunningham or like on a good day, Revelation News when he's Revelation News tries to really kind of stay within the gospel and stay away out of all the BS, and Nate really does a good job of that too. So I mean, I think that out of everybody, they're really doing the most right, and I think that everything else is just people's emotions getting in the way. Like where I'm like, oh,
Okay.
I'd rather Nate give him a little more of a
I mean,
fight.
I
Like,
mean, we can enjoy that shameless, but then we have somebody like G-Man who, I mean, makes it a habit to let his emotions get in the way.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, how does that work? I mean, we enjoy people that, can actually dialogue, but then the hottest, guy for the longest time now has been somebody who just can't dialogue with anybody except himself. I mean, he can have 2 hour hangouts with this just himself.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a I don't know what to say. I'm not even sure what question you asked, but I think G-Man, he's pretty deep into being at least biblically
He goes
accurate.
after
So
other theists with passion now. Have you noticed that?
say that again.
He goes after other theists with passion. Andy Jack now.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him call out a few theists. I mean, maybe like Fiona, Epi, Andy,
Yes.
Jack, and I'm sure there's been a few others. I mean, like, I think that because he's got his own YouTube channel and he's more of a personality, and he's kind of when you here's the thing most people don't realize, but he gets a lot of videos made about him.
Right.
That so he's kind of in that mindset where people are putting him on the spotlight. He needs to put people that and people think he's doing on the wrong. He needs to put people on the spotlight that maybe he thinks aren't so much in the right or anything like that. I'm not sure. It's not just so much my approach, but I mean the way that I feel is like, uh, if you feel like someone's doing something as a Christian unbiblically, you tell them in private first, but
Okay.
after a while, even in the Bible, it says you tell them in private with one person, you tell them in private with two people. If they still won't listen, you treat them like a pagan or a tax collector. I think basically that's kind of where he's gotten with some of these
Okay.
people. He's treating them like a pagan and a tax collector. I'm sure I guess he thinks he's already exhausted those other routes. I'm not sure.
All righty. Well, I mean, would you hate it if he changed his method, or G-Man is just always locked into being G-Man? I mean, could you
I mean,
see
I
a
think
nice,
everyone's subject.
kinder G-Man?
I think he's
Who'd you-
kind. I mean, but I know what you're saying. Could I see like a whole new like demeanor change and him like, it's possible. Everyone's subject to, but I mean, I think that everyone's got their own personality. Everyone has what makes them them. You know, Everyone knows on here who's who, and we know that Stizor is going to be
Right,
Stizor, and we know that Ermine is going to be sweet little Ermine, and Jackie's
right.
going to be little
Okay,
giggly Jackie, and everybody's got their personality, and that's pretty much who people are. I mean, you
that's
can't
a good point.
hide yourself in your personality but so much, and that's who G-Man is, and this is who
But if you
Shamos is.
remember, 1 year ago, probably today or this month, he did the famous Chaco Atheist. You remember that one? I don't know if you were around here, but he claimed that he went atheist. He went to sleep Christian, woke up atheist. And that was, the spectacle of last year that I enjoyed. Uh, okay, well, let's totally jump the rails now and talk about books. You like to read, correct?
Yeah.
Who do you like to read? What kind of
Well,
books do you like to read?
no, I like fiction, and I like to read like fantasy, mostly fantasy. But I like you know all types of stuff really. But I mean lately I haven't really been reading a whole lot. But some of the last books that I have read are the George R. R. Martin A Song of Fire and Ice, which is like the Game of Thrones
Game of
books.
Thrones.
He so I've already there's 5 books. He's in a series of 7, so only 5 have been written now. The sixth book has been in writing now for 5 or 6 years now,
All
and it's
right.
been every year. I'm like, I'm hoping it's coming out this year. I'm hoping it's coming out this year, and I just heard that it's not coming out in 2015. So I'm kind of bummed on that. But
Okay, well,
so
let me ask, if somebody asks you, isn't Shamos reading the Bible every night? I mean, is that what happens, or you actually take pains to read other material?
no, I to be honest with you, I probably haven't been reading the Bible as much as I should have lately, even though
Is that
have been
dangerous to
reading.
admit?
I don't think so. I think the the time there was a time where I would read about 3.5 to 4 hours a day on the Bible, and I would not just read the Bible. I would do like study, and
Okay.
so I've kind of stepped that down a little bit. Like I'll probably read like every couple of days. I'll sit down and read any relevant thing that I've been talking about. Like I try to stay really fresh in the Gospels. So like
Have
um,
you read the Bible?
yeah,
completely.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I didn't. I hadn't. I've only been a Christian now for, I think it's coming on maybe maybe 3.5 years or
A
something.
Christian for 3.5 years. Okay.
Okay, so and I had only read the whole Bible recently. I finished the whole Bible. I'd read about 80% of the Bible for, and I had about 80% read for the longest time. I've read the whole of the New Testament and like 80% or 75% of the Old Testament, and that probably about, I don't know, about maybe 6 months ago is when I finally finished it. So I just read the other books that I hadn't read.
Okay. You're glad you've read the Bible.
Sure, I think
How would
every.
you grade it literally as a literary artifact?
I mean, it's just it's the greatest book written of all time. I mean,
It's the greatest book written of all time.
yeah, even if you aren't a Christian, it's, you have to appreciate, like, for example, even if you're Floyd and you think that the New Testament is completely redacted, which basically means that the New Testament writers just completely went into the Old Testament and found all types of prophecy and just made
Yes,
them
the
fit the
Midrash.
life. Yeah, made them fit the life of Jesus, or just made it, basically went back to make everything so perfectly symbolic, so perfectly align in all of these ways, to make it
Sure.
more Bible. I think that in the way that it's done, even if you think it's been concocted, or even if you think it's the Word of God, it's a very symbolic, congruent book that has so much depth to it, and layered depth, meaning that have you ever like seen a show and then you watch it a second time and you'll catch stuff that you
Right.
hadn't caught? It's kind of like that, and it's so layered and in depth that it speaks to life, and we're talking about almost like, those television shows that are like morality plays. They speak to all these events that happen in life, and you can kind of understand and sympathize with it. The
Okay.
Bible is full of these things, and when you look at it, it's a book of life. It's a book of the beginning and the culmination and the end of humanity, and it is literally the greatest book ever written. I mean, it's
Okay. You
amazing.
like epic books,
Sure, yeah,
big world building books.
right.
I mean, your whole life, or is this? Why do you like world
Mostly,
building
yeah.
books?
Mostly, yeah. I think when my first kind of step into like big world building was reading The Hobbit,
Okay. Tolkien.
and yeah, and then I kind of realized like, wow, it's called like high fantasy or epic fantasy. It's
Sure.
separate from like traditional like C.S. Lewis fantasy, which is like
Okay. Well,
not.
who blows who away? Does Tolkien blow away C.S. Lewis?
They write different styles. Like, so, like for example, Tolkien writes that high epic fiction, where C.S. Lewis writes children's fiction that's allegorical to Christianity. Like,
Right.
so like it's hard to really say. So it's like apples and oranges. But I think Tol I have C.S. Lewis is one of my favorite writers of all time, even more than I like Tolkien, but I would have to say that Tolkien's work is more in line with my tastes.
Okay. What about somebody like Frank Herbert, Dune?
I think he that's one of the big science fiction books that I actually read. It was kind of funny how I read it. I had so many people talk so good about it for a long time, and just,
Right.
man,
It's
and
a
I just
classic.
heard, yeah, yeah, big time, and I didn't know, and I hadn't read it, and I just said, you know what? I at my work one day we have like this little small. This was a place I used to work at before. Um, we had like this little small library there, and on the bookshelf I saw Dune, and I took it home and I kept it in my bathroom. And I would actually read it when I was on the toilet.
Right.
And over the course of like 6 months or something, or whatever, however long it was, I finally read the whole thing, and I really really liked it, to be honest with you, and I could really appreciate his style, and he just how early that was written. You don't think about how, I can't remember the date on it. It was like
The 50s.
yeah, he's ahead of his time, man. He really
Yes.
was. He's a
Okay, well,
pioneer.
just to wind up our interview, and we'll open up to participants. Which books would you ask our listeners to acquire, or you say would be, just essential for them to enjoy? Which authors
Okay.
or books? Either way.
Okay, well, so I'm biased. I read a lot of fantasy. So, but I would say the first one, if you haven't read A Song of Fire and Ice, which is the series by George R. R. Martin, which is based on the show Game of Thrones, you're doing yourself a
Okay.
huge disservice. That's number one right there. But I think there's amongst modern writers, I really do, and this is kind of a cop out, kind of pop culture esque, but I think the Suzanne Collins, the woman that wrote The
Oh
Hunger
yeah,
Games,
really? Uh-huh.
she she wrote the novels in the first person point of view, which is actually like kind of not the best to write in or read in, but she did it really well. And I think
Okay.
that and to write a first person novel takes a lot of balls. It's hard and they don't read very well. And
Okay.
she did it and she pulled it off, and I think it's worth mentioning. So those are modern authors that I could like really say a lot about. But like what you said earlier, Frank Herbert, he was a genius as far as like some of the fantasy stuff
Okay.
that I'm
Would
in.
you advise our listeners to act, even if they're atheists, to read the Bible, just for literary value?
Yeah, I would say that everyone at least once, whether you're an atheist or a Christian, you should read the Bible all the way through. Like, and a lot of atheists actually, truly, some of these atheists on G Plus, most of them used to be Christians, and most of them I've actually talked to, even the ones that aren't Christians, will actually admit to having read the Bible all the way through before, and it's kind of interesting. So, but yeah, I would recommend it. I would say even if you don't believe it, you could still take it for a 2,000-year-old quasi historical epic literary text with a lot of symbolism and meaning, and still come out with this really really great appreciation for it, even if you're not looking at it in that sense.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you again for another great interview, Shameless. I'm going to go ahead and take a small break, and we open up the floor to participants. Could you hang around for a little bit longer?
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab something to drink, and we'll let the
Okay.
room fill in.
Hello. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Bunto.
How have you been? How many hangouts have you done today?
This might be the second.
Oh, really? Well, you had to take a big test today.
Yep,
How'd you fare?
pretty good.
All right.
Pretty good. And it was funny because part two was a 350 word essay. I kind of
Oh,
accidentally wrote like 600 words. Oops.
oh, cool.
So I know my stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to grad school?
Nah, not worth it. Stick to school. Sick of it.
I'm sure you'll get a letter of recommendation from somebody.
Yeah, but I think it's past applying for grad school for next year at least.
I mean, would you want to get right back in the saddle, or you want to take some time off from school?
I don't even know if I want to go back to school.
Oh,
If I
really?
do, if I do, it'll be later on, like years from now. I mean, I've been in school for like, let's see, 18 years straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't do another year. At least not right now. I need to live a life.
Oh, well, okay. What did you like about college?
What did I like
The
about
people?
college?
The people that you met?
Not really. I actually enjoyed more so exploring different subjects that
Oh,
weren't available to me in high school.
okay. You like the knowledge. I always
Yeah.
like college for the people that I met.
Nah, I'm not really a social person. The only type of social activity I really partook in during college was LGBT activism.
Oh, really? Well, okay. When I went to
Yeah.
college, we had something called Ars Nova, which was like a club, and we were just, also
Mhm.
the performance art. So, I mean, is the LGBT into performance art or just LGBT stuff?
I mean, it's an art school. There's like a major for performance art, so um,
Have you done any
quite a
performance art, Jackie?
yeah.
You have.
No, I have stage fright.
Okay, you got stage fright.
Yeah,
Why? It's fun.
because I have a cleft palate, and until I get that sealed up, I don't feel like I can articulate.
Really?
Uh, yeah.
Um,
It once I get it closed up, I'll feel better about like public speaking and performance and stuff.
okay. How about have you ever played in a band?
Yes.
Oh, really? What kind of band?
Uh, it was in elementary school. I played the trombone.
Oh, okay.
It was like a.
It's so
Oh,
interesting.
you mean like a more contemporary
Yeah, like rock.
type of band?
But
Oh,
but
I
mo
wish. If I was doing something like that, I think I'd want to do like vocals or keyboard or something like that.
right.
Um,
What's wrong with
drum.
trombone? Okay, you can't do rock on a trombone.
I mean, you could, but I mean, there's a reason why I stopped trombone. It just didn't interest me anymore.
But you know all those positions, right? There's like all those sliding positions.
Yeah, the seven positions.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, but Uh, I mean, I don't know. I only played the trombone because we were forced to be in an orchestra or something.
You were
Like
forced in.
it was the music. Yeah, it was the music program, and like you were supposed to be in it for from fourth grade to sixth grade,
Right.
and yeah, I would have chosen something like the cello, except I can't actually play the cello, so
Oh. Okay, so have you ever played a string instrument?
I can't.
You, well, okay, when you approach music, I mean, how do you do it? I mean, you just grab something and just start banging away on it?
I I what do you mean? Like I can read sheet music. I'm music theory.
Like if I said we have to
I'm
start a band
literate for
tonight,
that.
let's say I like
I
came over to your
no.
house and said we had to start a band tonight, play at a party. What instrument
It
would you
depends on the
instinctively
instrument.
grab?
Uh, well, probably drums. Since
You'd be our
I
drum.
don't know. Or I would maybe be vocals, but like I said, if once I get my cleft palate filled up, I'll feel a lot better. I'm actually vocally trained. It's
Right.
just like a lot of like the articulation, not articulation, enunciation. Like I can't say the S sound,
Right.
S, because air escapes up my palate through my nose. So,
Okay.
like I said, once I get that sealed up, um, yeah, if we were to have to start a band tonight and I have my cleft palate sealed up, it would be vocals.
Okay. Shamos, are you there?
Yeah,
Okay, Shamos, have you played in a band yet?
no.
Oh, really?
Well, I played in the school band.
Oh, in a school band. What did you
Yeah,
play?
trumpet.
Oh, really? So we have two brass players.
Yeah, but I only played in seventh and eighth grade, so.
Oh, you quit? You were a quitter?
Yeah, I guess so. But I still kept the trumpet. I still played for a little while, but the valves got messed up and I never took it to get fixed. So I was like, oh well.
Have you ever wanted to play in a band, like a rock band?
Who hasn't at one point in time? Yeah,
Right.
that would. What a groovy job that would be. Yeah, yeah, I would love to do that.
Have you ever wanted to do Christian rock?
I've never had an inclination. No.
Do you listen to Christian rock?
No.
Why not?
Um, I've heard Christian rock back in the day, but I'm just I listen to stuff on the radio and I just listen to whatever's catchy. Like crap. What's that one song? Super cat. I don't know. I just listen to the stuff on the radio that's catchy, even the girl songs and even the pop songs, and just I'm just one of those people that if it's got like a catchy hook, I'll listen to it.
You
I
mean
just
stuff like
find it funny. I just find it funny that there's like this illusion that all the Christians here, all they listen to is Christian music.
right?
Because I'm an atheist and even I listen to some Christian bands uh from oh, it's Shamos.
Yeah.
Sorry, got distracted. Uh um anyways, yeah, I mean I'm an atheist and I have some Christian bands that I listen to only because like I think that even though they're like somewhat preachy, like the lyrics don't really take away the quality of the music for me.
Right.
If they're really good.
Well, okay. Was Christian rock a misadventure, Shamos? Is there any scriptural basis for indulging in secular music? Any?
Shamos, you're muted.
Oh, he muted himself.
Not that I know of. I guess it's as good as mine. I don't know.
Okay, you paused when you saw Shamos for the first time, right, Jackie?
Yeah.
I mean, does he look like somebody? Does he remind you of somebody?
I don't know about that. I just paused because he looks nothing like I imagined him to look like.
When I first saw Shamos, and that was tonight, I remarked that he reminds me a little bit of David Byrne from the Talking Heads.
I'll have to
Hi,
Google
Sid.
that.
Okay.
Have you ever listened to the
Hello.
Talking Heads? Oh, hi, Sid. How's your day been?
My day has been awesome. How about you guys?
You get laid?
Not that awesome.
Okay, well, how many hangouts have you been doing, Sid? Good ones?
Lots.
How many hangouts do you need to do each day to come across a good one? You got to do at least 3 to come across one good one?
Oh, you mean get into?
I mean, like, if I said I want to be in a good conversation, I got to go to like 3 or 4 hangouts, or do I just got to go to one?
Every hangout I go into is just awesome.
Hi, Oki. It's because you show up, right? It's your presence make it awesome.
Oh, yeah, now that you mention it, that could be, yes.
Well, I don't know if you were listening to the interview, Sid, but I brought your name up.
I just came in and was out with the dogs, and I kind of just sort of settled down. So
I characterize me and you as the materialist position on G+, the great debate community. Would you agree?
The materialist position?
Yeah. A fair representation of the materialist position.
What is the materialist position?
Well, that we believe that the universe is all there ever is and all there ever will be.
Well, I don't necessarily believe that.
Oh, so you're not a materialist.
Well, I am a materialist, but I don't know what else is out there that's material. What if there's 2 universes? What if there's 3?
Okay, so tell me about this other universe there is, Sid.
Tell me, because whatever you tell me about that universe, I'm gonna find a fault in that universe, and then I'm gonna tell you about my alternative universe, which is better.
Okay, so why do you want to believe in other universes, Sid?
Oh, I don't want to. I just have to. It's innate.
Okay, Shamos. So which has the better scientific plausibility, multiverses or just one universe?
You're asking me?
Yeah. I mean, you said that the materialist position was the weaker compared to like philosophy. So what is the weakest materialist?
We'll see.
So that's called an orgasm, Steve.
That was awesome. This is bad boy.
See, he's an animal lover.
Yeah, but he's a cat lover.
His name is Bad Boy.
I'm gonna get a cat.
Bad Boy?
Is the cat a theist too?
My cat believes in God.
I actually, I'm not much of a cat person, I'm actually a dog person, but, that coloration on a cat, I think that's one of the best colorations. Yeah. The almost, wild look, but not quite.
Feral. It's a feral cat.
No, wild.
He's sleepy. Alright. No, but I don't know about the singular multiverse. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I mean, what does that have to do with materialism?
All right, Jackie.
Exactly. But I tell you what. Let's say, okay, Bunto, we're in agreement that there's no such thing as a spiritual, transcendental, supernatural, yada yada, yucky yucky, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're on the same page.
Okay. Do you want to believe in the supernatural, Sid?
No. Well, do I want to believe in it? No. I mean, it's hokey.
Really, ghosts and UFOs are hokey?
Okay.
I like ghosts and UFOs. I mean, don't you, Shamos? UFOs, they're kind of cool.
Hey, some people like vampires and zombies. I don't. That doesn't mean they're not cool. They're just not cool to me.
Are frog monkeys a thing? Because, I mean, they look pretty terrifying. I won't lie.
Well, I'm gonna hop over to 13 Heathens Shuffle.
Well,
Yeah, I have to head over there myself, too, here in a moment.
but thanks for
Okay.
showing up.
No problem. Love you all.
Take care.
Bye
May the
bye.
fork be with you.
Well, Sid, would you have any questions for Shamos? He was our interview guest tonight.
Oh yeah. What did
Anything that
Seamus?
crosses your mind?
Yeah. What did you learn from Bunto tonight?
I don't know. So, I don't know. He was kind of interviewing me. I didn't learn much about Bunto tonight. I think Bunto is really good at kind of his little
Steadily
style. Even when you come in to Hangouts and you're not doing one of your like shows, like you have a way of like directing and kind of guiding, kind of chat, and you have your ways. It's kind of cool.
Bunto? Yeah.
So, Sid,
What?
if you're going to show up in the great debate community, you have to improve yourself, right?
No.
No, you just have to be in character the whole time, or what? I mean, okay, G-Man has never improved. He's just G-Man.
Well, improve what? I have my my outline. I know my basics. So what's to improve?
Well, I mean, when you first came on board, did you think you'd be doing something like Reason Speak?
I did.
You did.
Yeah, I thought I wanted to. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do live shit. Yes, not necessarily Reason Speak specifically, but yeah, I wanted to go and do live. Yeah.
Okay, so you just sort of, what'd you say, actualized yourself. Finally.
Yeah, I knew what I wanted to do. I had a mission, and the mission was to debunk the myths and spread the facts.
Have you been successful?
I'm not sure if I've even started yet. I'm still setting up. But yes, we ultimately there will be success, and there will be a triumphal march through the captured city of Rome.
I mean, have you ever flipped a Christian, Sid, to your knowledge?
No, I've never done that. At least not for being a Christian. He might have cut me off or something, but you know. No, I have no reason to flip a Christian. Why would I do that anyway? Why would anybody do that?
Okay, so you're not looking to proselytize. You're just looking to counter apologetics, or what?
I'm just looking to tell everybody and have everybody understand that they don't have to be scared to hide. They don't have to be scared of reality.
Right.
They can man up, face up to the fact that YOLO, you only live once and then you're dead and then you're gone forever.
True.
Accept it, and put a smile on your face and carry on. That's it. Because what are we wasting our time for? On trying to stay in the old superstitious ages of superstition. It's nonsense.
Okay, good point. What kind of feedback have you been getting about your show, Reason Speak?
The feedback I'm getting is that it's a good show, but that it's underviewed. But
could you repeat that? I missed the end part. Sorry.
It's underviewed.
Underviewed. Okay, so did they suggest how to improve that? Is it a better time period, or more advertising?
No, but maybe more advertising. Maybe it's a reflection of how shitty my show is. But you know what? We just carry on and improve and get better and see what happens, basically.
Well, I remember asking you in a hangout about it, and you told me that you were not going to go towards arena combat gladiator battle.
Right.
Is that basically, what they're saying now? You got to go towards drama
No,
and train wrecks?
no. I don't do that. I reject their notion out of hand. I discount it. I don't take it seriously. That's my starting point.
Okay. If G-Man wanted to get on your show, you'd let him or not?
Of course I'd let him.
Okay. Well, there's battle, right?
Well, no. Battle is screaming and shouting, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, so you would try to accommodate G-Man's views?
No, I would have G-Man basically listen to my views. I know G-Man's views. There's nothing that I don't know about G-Man's views. He said everything that he said 100 times. I know all his views. So what I need to do for G-Man is to have him see reason.
Oh, okay. Pretty easy, right?
Yep. If he wants, I mean, it's up to him, not up to me.
Okay, is there a particular guest, somebody who you would not accept as a guest on Reason Speak? Or is everybody in the community invited?
I don't think I'd want Brett Keane as a guest.
Okay, Brett Keane.
Yeah.
Why? What's Brett Keane's?
Because Brett Keane is he's everything that's negative about humanity.
Okay. Like Hitler.
Well,
bad or not that bad?
Well, I don't know about Hitler because I don't know. I think he's worse than Hitler if you ask me, because he personally attacks people. He personally insults people. He personally humiliates people. I mean, he's a horrible human being.
Okay. You had any sort of interaction with Brett Keane?
Yes, I have. Oh, lots of interaction.
Oh, okay. Well, give us an anecdote. What happened?
Well, lots of them. Well, for example, the last one I had, which sort of sealed the deal of that I've never ever been with him again, is Raw Apologetics had a hangout on air.
Right.
And I guess, and I went in there, and I guess Brett was a moderator on Raw's show. So I got in there, and as soon as I appeared, Brett said immediately to Raw that here's the Sid guy. He's a known troll on the internet. We should get rid of him. And he either kicked me out or I left straight away. I can't remember, but that was Brett Keane. So fuck you, Brett Keane. Fuck you.
Well, I don't think that sort of attitude is constructive in our community.
I'm not trying to be constructive.
Summarily dismiss the alternative view out of hand, right?
It's not. It's got nothing to do with his view. It's him. It's him. He's a cockroach. He's a cockroach of a human being. I can't stand him, and quite frankly, I never, ever want to bump into him again. Ugh, it makes me sick.
Okay. I wanted to go.
I think he was saying like it's wrong for Brett not to like at least give you a platform to speak on at least if you're going to be respectful.
Well, he's not. He's not fair, and he doesn't. He doesn't practice what he preaches at all because he's a troll.
Okay, do you have any problems with people like that, Shamos, that they just block you?
Well,
I'm not a bag of chemicals. I'm chemicals in a skin, which itself is chemicals.
Okay, go ahead, Shamos.
No, I mean I don't really see a whole lot of that. I haven't really. Yeah, I've seen Brett. I've never really seen even Brett Keane. I've seen him let people come on and get their get their time and whether he would like kind of like poke fun at them or even have like a decent conversation with them. But I mean, I've seen them guys kick some people, but I think I wasn't familiar with the incident with Cindy, but I definitely don't doubt it. And it sounds like something they would do, but it was probably because I guess Cindy takes like a more hardline position than maybe some atheists, and maybe that was like maybe Brett just didn't want to have to deal with that, or I'm not sure. Maybe that was it though.
Well, let me ask you, Shamos, have you had trouble getting into a hangout because somebody's blocked you?
No, I've had trouble getting in a hangout because I've blocked someone.
Oh.
And I've only blocked one person, but
You've only blocked one person?
Yeah, and they go to Nadia's hangout kind of a lot, and I don't join when he's in there, and it's just kind of he doesn't get to join when I'm in there, and I don't whine about it when he's in there. I'll just sit back and watch.
Have you ever tried to reconcile and make peace with this person?
He's completely irrational, and he's a real jerk. I mean, if it was possible, maybe, but I don't really see that being possible.
Okay, so there are some people that you just cannot see eye to eye with in the community.
Well, I think there are just some people that just refuse to see eye to eye with me, or they're just not gonna be rational, and they're not gonna be respectful either way. They don't like me, I guess. So that's fine.
You know what? Once another thing with Brett Keane, I had. I was I was asking atheist in a hangout that he was asking questions in. So he says to me, ask an atheist, what was the name of the fish that you evolved from? What a fucking stupid thing to say. What a stupid question.
Well, I mean, did you go along with it or did you attack?
Oh, I left.
Oh, you left?
Yes.
Well,
I don't play games, Bunto.
Well, I know that, yes, it was a game, but
I don't play
there are
fucking games. I don't play.
There's a time for seriousness.
I don't play theist games. Fuck them. And fuck you, Benner.
Hey, Lyrics, welcome to the show. Okay, Lyrics, have you ever had trouble getting into a hangout because somebody's blocked you?
No. Not unless it
No.
was Brett Keane, and I don't give a shit about Brett Keane, so. I think he had me blocked, and I couldn't get into Nadia's, so I cried a little cry and then went along my way.
How about G-Man?
Love it,
I'm blocked on G-Man's stuff.
Yet another great intellectual I won't care about debating with.
What's really sad is when they're in the hangout before you, and then you want to join, and you can't because you got blocked. They're blocked. They blocked you.
Dude, the best thing about getting blocked is that means that I can go and do real life. I don't have to sit.
Right, you can step away from it. There's a good reason.
That's right.
From the computer.
That's right. It doesn't have you under its spell.
Okay, how many hangouts you been doing lately, Lyrics? Like 3 a day or 4?
No, I'd probably say 3 a week.
Oh, so you've reduced.
Yeah, it goes off and on.
Okay, if a person's doing 3 to 4 hangouts a day, is that addiction? Is that overdoing it?
I think there's some people that probably are, and then there's some people that go through phases. I'll go through phases on YouTube where I'll be on a lot for 3 months, and then I won't be on for 3 months, and sometimes I'll be on for 2 weeks, and I won't be on, It all depends.
Okay, because you want to just revitalize, recharge yourself.
Yeah, sometimes it gets boring, man. It's getting boring now.
Well,
Okay.
Bunto,
Oh, go ahead.
You know how we're starting the secular TV or the secular TV generation or the secular TV phase has started? You're going to see a very big push towards spreading the idea of critical thinking, rational thinking, questioning everything, that kind of
Right.
stuff. It's all we're going to be. That's going to be out there, and more people are going to be cottoning onto this, especially the young people. I think. I hope, but it doesn't matter. We're going to. We are out there. We are going to be a tsunami eventually over theism. Theism is gone. Theism is over.
Okay, well, on the whole, is secular TV successful, or is it just still
for something that's just started, that hasn't been around for not 2 months?
right?
It's very successful.
Is that because of?
We have over 1,000 subscribers already.
Okay, well,
that's pretty good, dude. In 2 months, yeah.
I know. Well, since
That's
the
indicative
beginning of December.
Well,
So,
if you can keep the rate of subscribers going like that, it's hard. There's plateaus a lot of times with channels.
absolutely, but we plan, we implement.
You
We
guys
don't
have a good
just, we don't just
structure.
sit there. We don't sit there and let stuff happen.
Yeah, you have a good structure, so people will come as long as you keep it structured and
That's correct. We have a very, very good leader, president, and his name's Randy Bevan. He's like the spine of the whole organization. Without him, it's just a pile of jelly.
okay, a young man.
A young man, yes.
Good. Well, okay, let me ask Shamos a question. Okay, Shamos, have you ever watched secular TV yet on YouTube?
No, I think so. I watched some of Sid's stuff while he's been broadcasting. I'll even drop in from time to time. I'm not sure if it's been under the secular TV banner or not.
It's probably it depends. If you've dropped into Reason Speak, I think you probably dropped into Ask an Atheist a few times. Is what I think.
Okay, Shamos is welcome to be on the show, right?
Oh, he's welcome to be on the show, but what I do on our show is it's kind of a format of panelist. In fact, you're welcome to be on my show tomorrow. I've got Jeff as well, Jeff Keller. He's going to be there. The format itself is panelist. So we all talk about stuff. It's not like people dropping in. At least I haven't kind of gotten to that point yet. I kind of prefer the panelist. If people want to come in and they ask to come in, I can invite them then and there. But
right.
It's not a drop-in like, say, this one would be for anybody who's got the link.
It's not like a barbershop. Anyway, Sid, do you seek to balance your shows with theists, or just wall-to-wall?
Okay, what do you mean by that?
I mean, the wall-to-wall God-hating shows, right? There's no room.
There's no. Okay. I'm not a God hater because there's no God to hate.
Shamos, have you ever characterized an atheist as a God hater, like G-Man does?
I'm not sure if I've ever used that terminology. Now I'm sure some atheists fall into that category, but I'm not sure if that's like a keyword that I've ever used. But it's possible.
Okay, you can tell who's a God hater.
Okay, look, Shamos is a God lover. Okay?
Right.
He's got every right to be there. I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. In fact, if he wasn't a God lover, I'd force him to be a God lover. You know what I mean? I think he has every right to be that. Not a problem. I don't have to know it. That's the thing. That's the difference is that I don't have to know it.
All right. Okay, Shamos, please explain to me what a God hater is, scripturally speaking.
Oh, I mean, I'm not sure scripturally speaking, but I mean, there are people that just I'm trying to think scripturally. There's people like obviously the Rand came where like reprobate, comes up, but I think what it really boils down to is someone that just has a serious, whether it's like they think God is immoral. I've heard some atheists say like, look, even if Yahweh is true, even if I would never bow down to such an immoral God. Like I kind of classify people like that as like if they're not God haters, they're getting pretty close to that.
Does that make sense to you, Sid?
It kind of does, yeah. I mean, not everybody's a thinker. and these people that you're talking about, who say things like that, are just not thinkers.
Is that wrong to not think?
I think absolutely.
It's everyone's right to be stupid and to be
Okay.
to be as stupid as you want and as smart as you want.
Yeah, but if you're going to try and preach your stupidity, then what?
Okay.
Oh yeah, of course. If someone tries to preach their stupidity, then you just
There's
smack them down,
there's the
dude.
difference. Right. Exactly.
Alrighty. Well, I was trying to say that they're not stupid, but just kind of ignorant to many atheistic positions, but they still don't like God,
No.
so they
You
can
see,
be a God hater. See what I
they
mean?
have not thought it through. If they were to be honest and think rationally and think about evidence and think about things that they say they think about, then they would try and be devil's advocate. They'll say, okay, I honestly believe in this God, but let's see how it feels to be on the other side. What's it like to feel like an atheist who knows there's no God? Let's try that game and see if we can go there and be the hypothetical. No Christian ever does that. Every atheist can understand why or what the pull of their religion and the spirituality and all that kind of stuff. Everybody can understand that because most atheists have been there,
Right.
and frankly, it's a silly thing anyway, so it's not too difficult to understand. But theists, either through fear or through ignorance, like you say, do not allow themselves to sort of cross that line to discount God as a mind exercise and just see where it goes.
What's your response, Shamos, please?
Sorry, I didn't I caught only the beginning to the middle of that. I didn't catch the end.
You want to nutshell it real quick one more time, Sid?
Just the last like 2 sentences. I heard most of it.
Oh, I said that the theists don't allow themselves to be devil's advocate, to actually be someone who, in their mind, pushes God to the side as if it doesn't exist, and then takes a look at the world through the hypothetical eyes of an atheist. You look at the world and you look at everything, and you question stuff, and you don't use God as an answer to everything, to anything. You look at it and you see it the way it is, because atheists haven't seen God, so therefore there's no God. So you don't give yourselves the option to see the world through our eyes.
Okay, what do you think of this, Shamos? You guys can't lose the bias.
I see. I see some theists fall victim to that for sure. So I mean, I've seen even some theists who won't even try to even participate in a thought experiment that kind of goes outside of their worldview. But I mean, it's not all of them. But yeah, I mean, I do, and I have seen it in places. Certain people, yeah. And I think maybe in certain circumstances, maybe I might have even been guilty of that too, depending on the conversation. I mean, in some ways.
Atheists do it a lot too, Shamos. So it's not just theists. Atheists do that a lot. Sometimes I do that too. It's hard for me to talk about a conversation that's out of my worldview a lot of times because I don't have any experience with it. And a lot of times it just doesn't make sense to me, dude, you know?
Should atheists try to embrace theism?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say embrace it, but in the past couple weeks, I've been studying the Bible and talking with various Christians and Jews about stuff. So it's helped a little bit, yeah.
I think atheists should try and enlighten theists. In other words, it used to be the tradition when an atheist and a theist got together, it was the theist always, banging away with the information and trying to get to the atheist and trying to get the atheist to sort of become a theist. Okay, I think that's been the tradition over the last couple of millennia. That's done. Now it's switched. It's the other way around.
Well, you told me earlier that you never flipped a Christian.
I never did.
Well, what's holding you back?
Well, I'm assuming that you mean flip a Christian in the impolite, rude manner, right?
Deconvert them.
Oh, flip! Is that what you meant? Oh,
Yes. Have you ever deconverted a Christian?
I don't have a clue.
Why would you want to do that?
And why would I want? To be honest with you, if I have deconverted 1,000 Christians, I don't want to know about it. That's fine. It's their business.
Really?
Yes.
You would be like the scourge of the great debate community if you did that. There would be, oh my God, Ask an Atheist is coming in the room. Like all the theists would be.
Absolutely, that's the idea. That's the idea. The thing is that their supernatural, transcendental caca is that's it. It's caca.
Okay, lyrics. I mean, lyrics. Have you ever wanted to like come back as a theist just to shock everybody's world, shake everybody's world?
I did think about that, but then it just took too much effort, and I got a life, so I can't really do it. Who I am is who I am, But I have thought about it.
All right, Sid, you wanted to go away and then come back Jewish? Or you wanted to come back
Jew anyways?
You mean if I were to choose a religion to come back as? What do you mean?
No, I mean just to shake the community. You're gone for like.
If I had to go back, I would come back. I could come back Jewish and be very convincing. Won't take me very long to grow out the beard. And whatever it is that like I'm not allowed to touch with a blade, according to the Old Testament.
Oh my God! All right.
Yeah, no, I qualify. Plus, I qualify. I'm genetically and Aryan. I'm an Aryan Jew.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did you know that, Shamos, that Sid was an Aryan Jew?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I know he can speak fluent Hebrew, modern Hebrew, and
I didn't know that.
I knew he knows a lot about Israel, and most people have some type of. I had, from my understanding, I always thought he was a secular Jew. He's culturally Jewish or something.
Yeah, but I don't identify as a cultural Jew because I don't do anything that's culturally Jewish in any way. I mean, you wouldn't.
You're totally not kosher. You're not kosher at all.
I'm not kosher. I don't hang out with the Jewish community. I don't do anything. I don't celebrate anything Jewish. I don't do any Jewish rituals. I don't. I don't even know when the Jewish holidays are unless somebody tells me, hey, guess what? Like today is Rosh Hashanah or whatever. Yeah, I don't care. I don't. Let people have a good time and celebrate, but I don't care. I think it's bullshit. And I guess to a large extent, I'm shunned by the community for it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's sad.
No, they're not nice people. So fuck them.
Well, I mean, like weddings and so forth.
I'm too old for that. The weddings and so stuff were when I had my children. My daughter's over 30 already, so it's not a big deal anymore.
Okay. Do you see anybody who's like you in the G Plus community, Sid?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Well, like who? A female?
Patrick's like me. Fiction fighters like me.
A fiction fighter. What do you think of
Yes.
her?
Love her to bits. She's my. I love her so much.
Potential soulmate?
Absolutely, 100%. Anyway, but she's like me. Rob DeRusso's like me. Patrick Festus like me.
Shamos, do you have a soulmate in the greater community?
If I had to say who's like, who's probably like somebody that I appreciate the most, or who's like maybe closer on my wavelength, I'd say I've always said this for a long time, and I'm going to say it again. I've got more appreciation for Arcane Logos than pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
Arcane.
Arcane
Yeah.
Logos has got a crazy way of looking at the world. I thought Bernard Berry was going to get it.
Okay, why Arcane?
I like his style. I think I like his style. I think he gets his point across. I think he's articulate and eloquent. He rarely ever, he doesn't ever yell. Arcane will like get
Arcane never yells.
no. He'll get like what is that word, like he'll start getting like sarcastic and stuff with you, but he doesn't get like, I've never heard him like really yell or be like.
Well, I've never heard you yell.
Yeah, I yell a few times.
I don't remember you yelling.
What
I
about
know.
Mac? Isn't Mac like Arcane?
Sort of.
Matt Slick?
Mac
What's his name? Mac
Thomas.
Thomas.
I like Mac. I do. He's just somewhat like Arcane, but he's
I don't know.
yeah. I like Mac. I don't know what to say.
He's almost a regular in Naughty Hangouts, Sid. Mac.
I don't go to Nadia Hangouts. I absolutely ignore Nadia Hangouts now. No, I have no connection to Nadia Hangouts, and I haven't had for good month now.
If Nadia revealed that she's Jewish like you, would you try to reconcile?
No, she's a cunt. Nadia's a hoax.
Why don't you like Nadia, dude?
Because she's a backstabbing bitch.
Why? I mean, when did this come about?
It's personal because she personally, she tried to. I caught her doing something or saying something about me which you didn't intend for me to
hear.
To intercept. Yes.
Did you ask her why she did that?
Yes, I did.
And she didn't give a satisfactory.
Yeah, she told me that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, or something like that. She gave me, the way she talks in her, English without putting anything together that makes sense. Well, she said something like, "I don't put together my arguments very well," or something like that.
Right. But she's never told you that. Like for me, when she kicked me out once, she said that I scare away all her participants.
And then when I invited her into my hangout to defend herself.
That's what all the atheists say about me.
She says, at least she was texting. She texted, "No, I'm not going to come into your hangout." Because Redline was in there telling us about what happened, when he offered her a job and stuff. And I'm not going to come into there when you host my detractors. And nor am I going to come in there to raise your viewership.
Okay.
What the fuck, dude? What is a detractor? Seriously?
Well, what happened was Redline offered Nadia a job.
Right.
And it was kind of an offer you couldn't refuse, and she did. And it was, I was there when it happened, and I understand his frustration, and I would be just as frustrated. I'd say, "Fuck you too. I'm giving you the lifeline that you want, and you're not taking it. Fuck you."
Right.
So that's essentially what happened. And Redline happened to be in the hangout, which was about God. The title of the hangout was "Refuting the Gospels of Nadia." It's something silly, But
I remember that hangout.
yeah, and so I guess she thought it was because we're talking about her, you know,
Right.
it's all about her, blah, 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 whatever, and she wouldn't come in because she didn't want to increase my viewership.
All right. Nadia has issues. Correct.
If I didn't have a job and you gave me a job just through being over the Google Plus, dude, I would love you if you did that for me. You know what I mean? Like almost a complete stranger offers you the opportunity to get yourself out of your own
Right.
troubles. You know, that's an amazing thing,
I
dude.
think Nadia's already created for herself a job. Okay, she's created
Okay.
her own job where people send her money, and she holds 24-hour hangouts.
Right.
And in order for her to hold a 24-hour hangout, she needs to be able to eat and pay her rent and pay her bills, right? So that's what she does. She gets I think she probably gets Patreon money, or people
Yes,
support her,
Patreon.
donate her every month enough for her to survive and to provide the 24-hour hangout on air service, whatever. I don't know.
Well, okay. Let me ask Shamos a quick question. Have you ever had a falling out with Nadia yet?
Yeah, not like a super big falling out, but there's been a couple of times lately where like we'll get into a talk about something, and like I'll link like something like a Wikipedia article, and then like she'll be like it's all BS, like she will, and then it starts getting on my nerves because like I mean, how can you win like that? Like if you go read some Wikipedia articles and go check the citations, do a little bit of research, and then you think you know what you're talking about, and then you go up to Nadia, and then she just says it's all bullshit, and lists her own links and stuff, and it's like, I was just like, man, it's just so hard to have a conversation with you sometimes when you won't even take for granted like common stuff, which I think should be taken for granted. Like I could give examples, but they're all just kind of like philosophical BS.
Okay. Nadia has issues that can be overcome. Yes or no?
I don't know what that means. That's so loaded, dude.
I mean, she can fix her life.
I think anyone can fix their life.
Okay, anyone can fix their life if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, it seems like, well, probably every week. Let me say it this week. We'll have an episode where it turns into a pity fest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there any utility in that, or is it just something that always happens?
Nadia's hangout?
Yes.
It's always that's it. It isn't that. That's the reason d'etre. That's the pity fest part. It's that's it. Pity me because I am fucked, and all I can do is sit here and talk to you all day. So help me do that.
Okay, when you go to a group therapy session, you're essentially trying to heal somebody or yourself. Isn't that right, Frank? Welcome to the show.
Holy shit, is that Shamos?
That is Shamos. What do you
Holy
think?
No, it's
crap.
weird.
Like
Now
that
he's on
here?
cam.
Holy fuck.
Everybody's been saying that.
Holy
Looking at
shit,
Shamo.
man. This
But
is like a revelation.
why'd you lift the why'd you lift the avatar?
I'm not afraid to come on cam. I'm not one of those people that like just absolutely refuses to come on cam, but I'm normally on my desktop. I have a desktop right beside me, and I'm normally always on this thing, but for a few times lately I've been on my laptop, and I was like, screw it, I'm on the laptop, why don't I just put on my cam? Because the desktop doesn't even have a camera.
Oh.
People have tried to turn my camera on the desktop, and it doesn't work. So I was like,
Right.
you know, I'm not scared of showing myself on camera, and I'm on the laptop, so I put it on a few times. Who cares? Hey,
That shatters the image that I had of you. You know, I had this image of this blonde, geeky, 18-year-old,
Yeah, totally different
smart
image, too.
ass. Like, I was like, oh, you look like a man. I'm scared of you, dude.
yeah,
All right.
no,
Yeah.
it's funny because a lot of people said the same thing. They were like, I thought you would have like blonde hair, like long hair and glasses, and be like nerdy. And it was kind of funny, but yeah.
You look like some of those dudes I used to hang out with at the military, bro. I was like, holy crap. But hey, it's good seeing you, Shamos. You're really good, man.
Thanks.
Whole new perspective now.
Well, do you have a
Yeah.
lot of girlfriends, Shamos?
Oh, he does. He has to.
To be honest with you, lately not
No.
so much. But I mean, like back in I don't know, like I'm 30 now, but like in the past I've done all right. I guess you could say. I'm not like trying to brag, but I haven't had many problems. But
Ladies.
here lately I've kind of been, I guess, at like a little bit of a in a rut, maybe. I don't know.
In a rut.
With that surfer thing in the back, you got like a.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think of G plus women? Are they approachable or are they?
Why you? This is bad.
Are they approachable? I think many of them are very approachable, and I enjoy their company deeply.
No women are approachable, I find.
On G plus, why not, Sid?
Anyway. Anywhere on the planet.
Everywhere, not only G plus. I mean, okay, just to ask our participants, there's nothing wrong with our women. They're pretty cool, right? The few that there are.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. They're great.
Well, I met some great females here. Like I have utmost respect, and they've been very cool.
Right. It's been a level playing field between males and females, whether it doesn't matter.
Is it okay?
Unless you're in.
Could you get along with an atheist girl?
What? Yeah, sure.
I mean, try a relationship with an atheist girl, or is it a non-starter?
As long as she had a hard body, why not?
I'd probably give it, I'd probably give it a shot. I don't think I'd be like, I mean, I'd go for it.
Okay, so you would put aside any sort of religious or philosophical views.
Well, I mean, it's kind of different. Like, if you like somebody, it's kind of like, wow, I really like this girl, but, she doesn't have blue eyes, so screw it. It's kind of like, you know what I mean?
You're like missing the whole point.
Yeah, if you like somebody, you like somebody, and it's kind of, like, I could even probably see maybe dating somebody of another religion, even if I really, really liked them. Like, you never know what kind of chemistry you can have with somebody, and I guess, like, yeah, I don't know.
I dated, most of the women that I dated were Christian, and the last couple, my wife's an atheist, and the one before that was like 5 years. The last two relationships I've been in are 5 years, and they were both atheists. But before that, it was all Christians, and I could not get along with a Christian. I don't know why, but it wasn't about their beliefs, but just our whole mentalities, just the way that we operated. They never coincided, and I really think it had to do with the whole God thing. I tried, but I couldn't do it.
Oh, Frank, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Would you say that religion is a bigger hurdle than, let's say, race?
It depends, because I dated girls who were atheists and people who had religious. It just depends. Some people are more fervent than others. It just depends, man. I don't know. I can't really say, which one or the other. I dated girls who were very religious, and very religious, but very one-dimensional in a sense, that use their religion as an excuse for their behavior. Never really got along with them. It's just something about their behavior that was very not attractive, to say. But I dated people who were, from a religious persuasion, and they were cool.
Okay, well, let me
go ahead.
Kind of dovetail back. Okay, that's a very good point, Frank. All right, I was going to say that when we're talking in a Google Hangout, isn't that essentially group therapy? Should I look at it that way, or should I not? It's bad to look at it that way.
You don't have to look at it that way. You can look at it any way you want.
group therapy so far is like people get to express themselves and maybe heal themselves of any turmoil.
They could, but some people just want to hang out and just talk.
Right. Some people don't
Yeah,
want to look at it as some sort of therapy session.
exactly.
The best therapy comes when you're not looking for it.
There you go. I think that's perfect.
Is that perfect? Okay, I don't
That
remember.
is amazing. I couldn't say it better myself. And then
Okay.
after you realize, holy crap, that was therapy.
All right, so I shouldn't be looking to try to heal people like Nadia, right?
What?
I mean, should I be looking to heal Nadia?
Or heal or what?
Well, I mean, Nadia has some issues.
Yeah, we all
So
do.
I feel like as her friend, I want to help her overcome her issues of, feeling bad about herself.
I think this is what I think. I think you want to help her so you can help yourself.
Oh, okay. So I'll feel proud about myself that I helped somebody else.
Well, not necessarily, but yeah, you can. Maybe it can be companionship. It's a two-way street.
Okay, have you ever helped somebody because you just finally got tired of their whining?
The best way to help with whiners is not to pay attention to it.
Okay, I gotta remember that. Don't pay attention to whiners.
Exactly. Because all you're gonna do is reinforce their whining.
I enable their whining.
Yes, yes. There's another word to say, yeah. Oh, Seamus, you're not on cam anymore. Now that blonde-haired kid is back in my head.
Right. Okay, well, the last question, Green. Is there any reason to avoid Nadia?
Well,
I mean, some
If
people
you're
have
the
told me
type
they
that
don't
gets
like.
locked into depression, well, then probably
Right.
don't go hang out with her. But
yeah, if it's doing something to you where, damn, I feel like crap, then, maybe you should step back a little bit.
What do you
I
think,
like I like
Seamus?
I like hanging out with Nadia, like
I like hanging out with Nadia.
yeah, I enjoy
yeah,
it. I don't pay attention to her whining. I don't.
Right.
that's when I
Yeah.
usually leave. When it's like after like 10 minutes or 15 minutes of just whining, then I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But that kind of goes with anyone, to be honest. It's just not just Nadia. If people just want to sit on here and whine constantly, then I get enough of that in my house.
Well, I think whining could be very attention-seeking. That's what it is.
Oh, of
But
course.
it's the wrong way to get attention. But all it's going to do is just a lot of times distance other people, and the person usually will stop because it's attention seeking. So well, maybe I should start being a little bit more smiley or happier, and people will gravitate to that.
But I think Nadia is kind of locked into her role.
Yeah, I always say, like, when I'm in Nadia's hangout, I'm like in the Nine Inch Nails concert. So what do you mean? It's like, you know exactly what I mean. Because it's very negative, but sometimes negativity is not so bad. But if it becomes a little bit one-dimensional, it just starts getting a little tiresome.
Yeah, the people on here that are real, they're like they have multiple facets of their personality. Like if there's just one facet that they give off, then they're usually probably fake. Sometimes I'm pissy, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm cool, sometimes I'm a dick. It's normal life.
Okay. Nadia is in character. That's who she is. Right? I mean, Arcane at Linked was like trying to minister to her. In fact, in a way, he sort of was like almost encouraging her to off herself. Did y'all see that hangout today? Arcane Logos talking to Nadia.
No, I haven't
It was
been in.
today? No, I didn't see that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was in.
Yeah.
I put the link up on my
I was at
feed.
work.
But what I'm trying to say is sort of like, Arcane needs to realize that Nadia is in character. That he can't be like. I mean, I don't see what the point was of his, you know, trying to tell her that life isn't that bad if she's in character. I mean, that's what she's all about. The pity. Yeah, that's true. He was in character too, if you think of it that way. They got into a competitive contest, Frank, where they were trying to outpity each other, with who had the hardest upbringing or the hardest, hoe to, you know.
Oh, dude, that's almost as good as when people try to compare criminalities. Like, who's the best criminal, dude?
Well, she said that she was, what would you say, prejudiced because of her LGBT, because of her trans status, right? And then he was saying because he was the only black kid in the white, community. So it was like a little bit of,
Now, Arcane lives in the white community?
well, back then,
Oh,
growing up,
okay. All right.
and of course, he brought up the specter of racism against her specter of, aversion towards trans.
It was
They
just
got,
those two? Nobody else got on it? Because I think I
well,
would
I
have.
mean, I tried a little bit of poking in, but then I just sort of like, sat back and watched it.
Oh, okay.
But to me, Frank, it was therapy.
Sounds like more entertainment.
Yeah,
But
that's the good
okay.
stuff right there, dude.
I think I would have got in it and just tried to pity myself. It's like, look, I had a hard too, man.
No, well, I guess so. You could get to a pity contest.
Yeah, get all the people that complain in one room.
My back, and but I don't know. What I just advise all listeners and anybody who's like, just seeing the naughty experience for the first time is not to get, caught up in it. It's like,
It's like a reality TV show.
yes, something like that.
I mean,
Cinema.
these hangouts are fun, dude. Sometimes they're boring and sometimes they're fun. It all depends on who's in there, But they're good.
You know what I don't like about her show specifically is when it starts to get interesting and she doesn't moderate and people start butting in after each other and you just lose the whole thread of the discussion with everybody butting in and then and it just goes to hell.
Excuse me.
I know, really.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
You get that 3 times.
Raise your hand. Excuse me. Do you need to go to the bathroom, ma'am?
Well, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. This has been a great interview. I'm going to go ahead and wind up the show now. I'd like to thank all of our participants and especially Shamos for being an interview guest. And everybody have a good week. Take care.